Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Hard Count podcast. And today we're going to be talking about my Week 5 Superior 10. Some big games this past weekend. So let's get into it with my number 10 team. And that is the Los Angeles Chargers. Make their first appearance on this list. And while, yes, the Chargers move up here, this isn't as much a result of the Chargers being good as some other teams like the Bengals dropping out, the Steelers dropping out. But the Chargers, they won. They've got a great quarterback. They've got a great offense. And so they sneak in here at 10. Justin Herbert has looked phenomenal all season. One of the most consistently good quarterbacks this year. He really hasn't had a bad game. And his connection with Keenan Allen has been phenomenal. Obviously, we know Mike Williams went down, and I think it'll be interesting to see how Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer can continue to be implemented into this offense. As soon as they get Austin Eckler back too, I think this offense is only on the rise. I know people joke about the Chargers are going to Charger, but we got to look at this team holistically. And when you do, they're a good team. They did just trade away J.C. Jackson, which is interesting to the Patriots, but I think this is a team that can make the playoffs in the AFC. I don't necessarily think they're competitors to win it all, at least yet. But Justin Herbert's phenomenal, and it's a fun team. So Chargers move into 10 here, not fully on their own doing, but they did get the win this weekend over the Raiders in what was just kind of a very Raiders-Chargers game, coming down to the wire. So Chargers at 10, and then at number 9, we've got the Cleveland Browns, and I know, how could they still be here after a big loss, 28-3 against the in-division Ravens. And, well, Cleveland, okay, well, the obvious point here is DTR, sure. Now, do I think the Browns win that game with Deshaun Watson? No. But I can't drop them based on this one performance. I do think there is, you look at Vegas and you think, oh, well, Deshaun Watson's only worth like 6 points. But, it does compound on itself. The Ravens they had, I think, 12 drives, which is a lot. Their offense is on the field. Their defense is stopping DTR, creating turnovers. So I just think it's not fully representative of this Browns team. And I do think this Browns defense is still phenomenal. And I think it speaks more to the Ravens than the Browns as to what they did this weekend. So, again, I've said this. I think Myles Garrett is a top 3 defensive player in the league, if not top 2, top 1 even. The secondary with Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward is phenomenal. And, they just have pieces on all layers of that defense and talent on offense. I think if Deshaun Watson can continue to play well like we saw him do against Tennessee, this is a very, very scary team. And if they play well in that fully healthy state, I think they can rise. I think they can compete. I just said the Chargers aren't as much competitors in the AFC. I do think the Browns could make some noise down the stretch with that defense and if this offense gets clicking. So, tough loss this week. Again, they were without their starting quarterback and against a very good team. I do think it is a tough loss division-wise, but Browns will be okay. They're at number 9 still. I'm keeping them in the top 10. And again, there was other teams that had to drop out, Bengals, Steelers, etc. So, Browns at number 9, and then at number 8, I've got the Detroit Lions, who also make their first appearance on one of these lists for me. They have been very due to be on one of these lists. I know a lot of people have been waiting. Where's the Lions? Where's the Lions? And they punished me this week. They looked very good. They really just manhandled a Packers team that, I considered putting top 10 just a week ago. So they looked really good. I've always been kind of a Jared Goff naysayer. But at the end of the day, Amon-Ra in this good offensive line. David Montgomery's been getting touches. I know people are frustrated with Jahmyr Gibbs. But this is a good offense. And I think it's only going to be better. I don't really see a reason they're going to get worse. They're adding Jameson Williams, who was my number 1 receiver last year. We'll see how that'll be. I think he'll plug in nicely as a wide receiver 2. Sam Laporta has been one of the most impressive rookies this season. So the Lions offense is just doing what it needs to do. And the defense, I mean, the way they just pushed around Green Bay's offense, who was looking good. They were looking like they were getting some momentum, and they shut them down. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, I think, is one of the best edge rushers in the league already. So that's great to see for the Lions, and I think it's a team that's only on the rise. Now, I do think their ceiling is capped again, Jared Goff, but still a very good team. I don't know if they're a team that can win the NFC, but definitely an interesting one. So the Lions at 8 proved me wrong. And then at number 7, a team that I think I was proven right about is the Miami Dolphins. People asked me last week, I kept them at 4. You looked at the power rankings around the league. A lot of people had them 1, a lot of people had them 2, and I had them 4. And, maybe I raised them up too much. It's easy to say that, obviously, after this week. But, I mean, this Dolphins team is more the Dolphins team that I think I expected coming into the season. Obviously, their offense is explosive. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. I mean, Devon Achane has been phenomenal for them. He's been the most efficient rusher in the league by far. It's one of the most explosive offenses. They've got so many great pieces, and Tua has done a very nice job in the role of distributor for this offense under Mike McDaniel. Now, I don't think this team is a team that can keep up with the Bills, the Chiefs. Sure, they might win a game here or there, but if they're going into the games with each other, the more well-rounded team, the team with the better quarterback, the team with the quarterback that I trust, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, over Tua, is the team I'm going to take, and the team with the better defense as well. I mean, this Miami rushing defense got smashed. Their passing defense got smashed. And yes, that had a lot to do with the Bills being the Bills. But at the end of the day, it's something to look at and go, this team might not be the number 1 team, the number 2 team, the number 3 team. Now, I still think this is a very good team. Do not get me wrong. I talk about it, the explosive offense. I mean, Mike McDaniel's a genius. And I think they can compete in the AFC. Now, I don't think they are favorites, but I think they can compete. And so we'll see. I could be wrong about the Dolphins. It could have just been an off week. But I think this is more the Dolphins team I expected to see coming into the season. A very explosive offense, a defense that might struggle, and a team that's just the tier below, or just slightly below the best teams in the AFC. So the Dolphins at 7, and then at number 6, I've got the Baltimore Ravens, who I talked about earlier with Cleveland, had a very well-rounded game, 28-3, big division win on the road. And it just all went right for the Ravens this week. Their defense played well. Lamar Jackson played well. Mark Andrews finally got going against one of the best defenses in the league. I think on average, the Browns defense was allowing 5 first downs per game, and the Ravens went ahead and scored 4 touchdowns. So I just really liked what I saw. Not to mention, for the Ravens, they're going to be getting Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Williams, Ronnie Stanley, 3 of their most valuable players back this week in practice. So I think this team's only on the rise. I think this offense is going to be very, very good. I told everyone not to panic after the loss to the Colts last week, and I think I was right in saying that. So yeah, this is just a very well-rounded, solid team. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback I trust, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And with Odell, with Rashad Bateman, with Zay Flowers, with Mark Andrews, with a healthy offensive line, I think the sky's the limit for the Ravens, and I think this is a team that can win the AFC and can compete for a Super Bowl this year. So Ravens at 6, and then at number 5, I've got the Dallas Cowboys, who, man, they came back with a bang. I had them as my number 2 team a couple weeks ago, dropped them down to 6 last week after a loss to the Arizona Cardinals, but what a bounce back. Huge win against the New England Patriots, just absolutely dominating on all fronts. Micah Parsons was great. Just everything went well. Their defense was giving Mac Jones every problem in the book, and it just was Cowboys football. And it is a little interesting to me to see how they've either been super dominant or struggled heavily. So I'm curious to see if that trend kind of continues. But I mean, their dominance is dominance. And I talked about it. Dak Prescott in this offense with a good passing attack, with a rushing attack that can get going. Now, I haven't been too impressed with Tony Pollard. He hasn't done anything special. He's actually been one of the least efficient running backs in the league. I talked about Devon Kane earlier. But Cowboys team, it's very good. They're going to be okay even without Trevon Diggs. We saw that this past week. And so, yeah, this is a team that can win the NFC. And Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, it's a good team. And they have a great chance this weekend to prove themselves against the 49ers. If they can come away with a win in that game, I think this team is very, very much legit. And I'm just really excited to watch that game, see what this offense can do, see if this defense can slow down one of the most effective offenses in the league right now. So, Cowboys at 5, exciting game this week, but they look dominant this past week, so got to give them credit there, and they move up a spot. So, then, at number 4, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles, and not too much to say here. They moved to 4-0. Yes, it was a little sketchy against the Commanders at points, but I've talked about it. Teams have those types of games, and the fact that they're able to squeak out wins is all they need to do. A.J. Brown is an absolute monster, and Devontae Smith can have a game too, whenever. So this is just a really great offense. The involvement of DeAndre Swift, being able to get the ball moving on the ground, is very, very promising. I know it's been kind of getting the backs involved is a little bit of an issue last year in Philadelphia. So if they can really get that going with Swift this year, that would be great for the team. I think this is just a great team. They're a Super Bowl contender for sure. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback that I would want on my squad. And there's really no issues. They're a team that's going to push you around. And, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I think they might be slightly less of a well-rounded team than they were last year, but maybe not. If they're running the ball like they're running the ball, Jalen Hurts is playing well. I think it's still a very, very good team, and the Eagles are at 4. And the only reason they're not higher is because I think there's just a lot of very good teams in the NFL right now. One of those being my number 3 team, the Kansas City Chiefs, who, yes, they struggled just a little bit against the New York Jets. The line was 8.5. I think like 90% of the public was betting on the Chiefs to cover that line. And, well, Zach Wilson came out and had one of the best games of his career and made it a little tough on the Chiefs, but they got the win. They're 3-1. I don't really know what I need to say about the Chiefs. I feel like every week I repeat myself. It's Patrick Mahomes, it's Travis Kelce, it's Andy Reid. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. We know they're going to be there at the end of the year. They're going to be one of the teams to beat. And there's not that much to be said there, especially with these receivers getting involved. Rashee Rice, Sky Moore. It's just only on the up and up. Anyone can work with Patrick Mahomes. So, Chiefs, they're my number 3 team. I could put them higher, but there's just been some teams that have really, really impressed me. And, I think it's just going to continue to be smooth sailing for the Chiefs. I know they've got the Vikings and the Broncos. So, the Chiefs are going to chief. And they're going to continue to win games. So, not much else needs to be said. Then at number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. And, I've said in the past couple of weeks, the 49ers are going to be my number 1 team until I'm proven otherwise. And when I said that, I wasn't thinking that the 49ers would win by 20 points and drop. But this is not at all due to the 49ers. This is completely due to another team's success. But everything is great. I mean, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, who has been absolutely phenomenal. He's one of the best offensive weapons in the NFL, if not the best offensive weapon. I mean, he's just utilized so nicely within this offense. And you put him with Brandon Ayuk, who's PFF's highest graded receiver this season. Deebo Samuel always has the ability to create big plays. It's just a very, very hard offense to stop. Not to mention that defense with that front seven that will just get after your quarterback, which we know in today's NFL is one of the keys to success. So, the 49ers dropped, but not at the fault of themselves. They had a nice week. And, I think this team can move up to 1. I have no problem with putting them at 1. I just think at the end of the day, who am I picking to go all the way? And I think that there is one team above the 49ers in that regard, and that's the Buffalo Bills. This is the best team in football, and they showed me it this week. We were all looking at the week 1 game, like, what's up with the Bills? And I said, I think it's just an off game. I think the Jets might be just the Bills' kryptonite. And week in, week out since then, they have shown me that I think I was right. Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in football. This offense is electric, and their defense is playing like one of the best in football. I mean, I know the Dolphins got off to a hot start on Sunday, but after that, they did virtually nothing. I saw a chart, I'll put it up on screen, of, the teams of the Chiefs and the Patriots dynasties in terms of their offensive and defensive EPA per play, and Bills teams of the past, and comparing this current Bills team's pace through 4 weeks to those teams. And I mean, the chart just speaks for itself. The offense is on some of the highest levels we've seen. The defense is on some of the highest levels we've seen. And it's just feeling like it's all coming together for the Bills. This feels like the best team in football. This feels like the team that I think is going to go all the way and win the Super Bowl. I can't say enough about the Bills. I mean, they went out and just manhandled the Miami Dolphins, who a lot of people were saying one of the best offenses of all time after that game against the Denver Broncos. And it wasn't even close. So I can't say enough about the Bills. They're my number 1 team. Yeah. So that is my Superior 10 for this week. Some new teams, a new number 1 team this week, which is the first time this season. So very exciting there. We've got some big games this week, most notably 49ers Cowboys. How will things shake up? So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. Stay tuned every week for these Superior 10. And until next time, peace.